I got caught in what she was saying. What was the question again?
We rolling on 10 years, and I really wanted to do something that was going to be memorable. And it was really the sense of blessing other people. Like, yes, it's going to bless us to talk about certain things and bring us closer, but it was really to bless other people. Well, I'm Quiana Dixon. We're here to talk about our marriage, as in we're hitting 10 years in July. And I was actually given the vision to document some questions that we can answer from our experience throughout our 10 years. And hopefully that it'll bless not just us, but some other people.
And I am Mario Dixon, and we're here because of her vision, but I can see a lot of different things that can come from out of it. We were married young, so I think it's a lot of key insight there, because some people don't get married at that age, and it's just so many different things that they can scale it back to. Love is not what we all look at it as. It's not. It's totally different. We think it's peaches and cream. We think it's ice cream and cake. It's more so like constructing a house. It's more so like that, and it's starting with a foundation. And that foundation is on good soil, and if it's done correctly, I'm a real estate agent, so I kind of got it a little bit more than everybody else, but it does. It makes a lot of sense for the foundation to be sound, and it must be on good soil. And if you understand, the type of weather and climate that comes around a certain area, you got to take care of the foundation a certain way too. So, it's a lot of different things that come to going back to the beginning.
Yeah, I'd say love is selfless. I mean, some people may have heard that, but I just feel like it's on another level as far as when you're in a relationship, and it's not about because I feel like society makes love make you want to feel like it's how I feel. It makes me feel good when I'm with that person, which that's relevant. But for the most part, when it really comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's more so how do I regard this person's feelings? How do I see their perspective even if I don't agree? That's love. It's selfless. You're really thinking about that person. And if you're in a correct relationship, that should be given back to you. So you're not losing, giving that love to that person and focusing in on what they need, because they should be doing the same thing for you.
Exchange. I probably would have took it a little bit more seriously. I think I was not as serious as I should have been, knowing how I felt. I think it's a lot about maturity at that point in time too. But again, that was only because I was young. I would feel like, if I'm getting married around this time, I would assume that I'll be at a certain maturity. But I looked at it as we were still boyfriend and girlfriend, even though we were married. And that is a transition. Like, no, you have to pick some things up. You're going to have to actually ask for some trouble as well. You don't necessarily just like, well, we've been coasting, we've been good. And, I don't want to, mess nothing up, but no, you do. You want to get deeper. And I think we didn't take enough time to go deeper in the beginning. And I think that's fault to me. And, I seen her being my wife from day one, honestly. So it's like, I never seen her not being my wife, so had to really kind of work out of that and like, hey, dig deeper. And we have, and we did, and yeah. Okay. Treasure. That's what we found.
Mine would be similar to his. I'm always an advocate for premarital counseling. There's questions that are asked, and there's things that you are exposed to and open up to that you can evaluate and talk about prior to going in, versus now you're getting married. Now you're in it, and now y'all discussing these things that are new, which is okay. I mean, we made it through, but I feel like a lot of marriages don't, because those things weren't spoken about.
I wish I knew her a little bit more. I knew all the great things about her, and I knew all the things that attracted me, obviously. But there was ways I cared about her that I didn't decide to pursue until obviously you start seeing different things as we're growing as a couple. It's like, well, I guess that probably has something to do with this, and you probably want to address that then. So I didn't dig deeper to understand how she feel about not having her father, where he she lost him very early in life. So it's like, how did you feel about that? I never met mine, and that's just something that we could have, now that I see hindsight, we could have connected really well on that, but we both decided not to really talk about that. And maybe then she'll understand why I'm the type of father I am, and then she understand, and then I can understand why she don't want me to be a certain type of father. And Cameron was our baby first, and we was taking care of him, and it was like I started to see a lot of differences there, and it's like, babe, like I thought you see it like that. I thought you was riding with me on the dad, yeah, but nah, you got to. Oh, I get it now. I see so many different things, and it was like, wow, I want to know more of that side of her, and that's what I've been spending the last half of the marriage doing, is like really wanting to know more about her.
Yeah, mine would be similar. Wishing that someone told me about the changes that occur throughout the time of marriage, the evolving of someone. That this is the person that you married that you love, but they're growing, and us being married so young, we were growing together. So maybe not seeing his growth because I'm in it with him. So I just wish that again I had some wisdom or guidance to kind of open up that door a little bit to explain the growth that occurs in marriage.
So the reason why it's too much freedom with unofficial, and what a woman wants is a lot of loyalty and a lot of commitment, and she can't get that unofficial. You got to mean something in a man's life, and if he don't, it's just human. Honestly, I believe it's just how the world raises a man up, and in some sense, and that he doesn't give too much to something that's not that value, even though it gives to him. That's a lot of stuff you can't be hurt behind when it's not official. There's a lot of things that a man can't allow, and there's a lot of things a woman can't allow. And I think that gets marriage confused, because a lot of people are opening up marriage doors in unofficial and thinking marriage is somewhat the same. But now we get in here and we're gonna battle together, and we're gonna battle one another, each other. Like, I'm gonna help her battle her, and she gonna help me battle me, because we're gonna have to join together and make it one.
Basically, unofficial, you step out, you can leave at any point, regardless how deep it is, how long you've been together. At the end of the day, you can step away and leave. Versus, although there's divorce, when you get married, divorce is hard. There's still love there. It's a lot of hurt. So it's something anchoring you there. That covenant that's made is anchoring you in that, to want to fight a little bit more, to not feel that freedom to just leave. So, and again, like he was saying, with opening certain doors in that singleness, because you're still single. Documentation wise, when you fill out a form, you have to put single. So that's your freedom there. Versus now I'm tied to someone, I have this responsibility. It's just a whole nother realm. Once you get married, it literally changes. You think, honestly, I thought it was just gonna be, oh, I'm a bomb girlfriend. I'm just gonna step on in this thing, and it's totally not the same. So yeah, I would say that official, if you really want to be with this person, if this want to be your favorite person, go ahead and make it official, because then you don't have that insecurity as far as, oh, they can just step up and leave it, I can't say anything. They have that right to do that. The exposure, like, when you really start to, you can see yourself in ways that you would have never saw yourself before, because your spouse sees you in a way that no one else has seen you. So they may call out certain things or pull things to the surface that you didn't know were there, that you may not have never wanted to address. And you're in this situation now that if you want the best of this, you have to address that. So for me, I was very defensive in the beginning. I was like, me, I have to fix something. But it was the reality of it. So I would say after battling and being defensive, it felt good, honestly, to surface those things and resolve it with the person I love, my best friend. So yeah, that was it for me.
A surprising effect would be, I guess, my whole attitude. My whole attitude was changed dynamically. I didn't realize how selfish I was. I was a very self-centered person because I was ambitious, and I had goals, and I wanted to take care of a son that I had very early, and I wanted to also make a difference for my last name. So it was just so many different things that I was leaving out the door with, and then I didn't think I was gonna find my bride so soon, and found my bride, and I'm like, dude, you got some issues. I was like, yeah. But yeah, man, my attitude changed, like, for real, my perspective. Like, I understand women so much more, and I have this sensitivity to a woman, to where it's like I don't want to do anything that's gonna, like, really influence a woman to go in a direction that's not likely. How do we handle mistakes? Well, that right there is different. We, to be honest, like, it's not a lot of mistakes, because we uncover so much stuff, especially when there were early mistakes. That being young and immature, and social media being the shock to our society that it was, brought up a whole lot of stuff. So with that being said, it was like a lot of early mistakes, and then toward the latter moments, it was just all about our communication. And then it gets to points now these days where we come to each other with it. It's like, hey, this is what's bothering me. And so mistakes really don't come that much. When you say mistake, I'm thinking about things that basically made our marriage what it is today, and we kind of don't deal with those things anymore.
Yeah, I would say the grace, knowing the intent of your spouse and knowing their true heart. So when a mistake is made, you can see quickly, was this intentional, or do you have a problem, or whatever the case is. It's just an automatic grace that should come into place versus an offense, because being offended, that's gonna divert the whole situation, and now you're in your emotions and you can't make a proper decision. So again, that's that selfless part of that love that comes in, to where, okay, you made a mistake. Yes, that made me feel a way, but let me look at the situation unbiasedly. I always say retrospect wise, kind of pull yourself out of it and look at it for what it is. I'd say tip would be, those mistakes should be between the two of you. You should have some people you can talk to, depending on how big that mistake is. But it's wise to kind of handle it between the two of you, because opinions come in, and then now you're kind of like, well, I don't know if I should, or this or that. But it's a grace that comes with mistakes that's made in marriage. Shoot, I didn't know I had a guard. So I would say it was like a gradual thing. So I can't tell you like exactly when, but as our marriage progressed, again, like there were some things that were exposed that I didn't realize were creating a guard. Mario always, it was a song, and he was just like, I want to know what's on your mind. And he was just like, I'm like, well, I don't know what's on my mind. So it basically, I had to pull back into myself to realize, okay, why can't you articulate how you feel? And it was like it took some years. Like his patience was definitely tested and grown during that time, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, I can't even pinpoint when it started, but I would say it had to be like a gradual growth thing. I remember year 5 was really pivotal as far as me recognizing why it was difficult to express my emotions in the first place. So yeah, it was just been a gradual thing, and it's still today. It's still something I have to consciously be mindful of. To hey, that's important. He wants to hear that, so let him hear that. So that's just it's just a daily thing, honestly.
Yeah, it surely is. It's definitely a daily discipline. That guard doesn't really go anywhere, because we gotta put it up with other places. Can't be too open in certain places. So, but when you come home and you want to sometimes put yourself away and just have your time, and sometimes it can't be immediately that. So it's more of a training that I have to put it on, and I don't know when I had gained it, but I want to specify that it was through the turmoil that had taught me how to do it. I don't know when it happened, but I know through turmoil is what helped develop a time to let that guard down, or the reasoning for it rather.
The center of it, honestly, the origin of marriage, and um, people. I feel like people should understand that getting married, you're making a covenant with God, not with the imperfect person that you're marrying. So when you go in marriage and you don't understand that, and that person makes a mistake, and you don't have the grace of God or the understanding of the grace that's given to you, you can't give it to that person. So therefore, now divorce is on the table or separation is on the table. But if you remember, I made this covenant with a perfect God. So regardless of his or her mistakes, God is in it. If he's in it, he's going to smooth it out. You just have to trust and have faith in those certain situations. But the more we did put him in the middle of it, that foundation was there. So if we're arguing or we're having a disagreement or misunderstanding, he would bring clarity, understanding, better ears and eyes. That's something I pray for a lot, to see him the way I want to see him, to hear him the way I want to hear him. And he gave me just that so that we can grow closer together and understand each other on the level that is desired.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a bit of a deep one. God is everything, because that where we learn grace and mercy is in the God, in the Word of God. And when we have grace and mercy for one another, marriage becomes very, very easy. You start to understand what your true role as a husband or a wife is truly is to provide that person with grace and mercy, because first, mercy is giving somebody something that they don't deserve. It is so easy for a man not centered in God to do that. I know that because I'm a man who really was like, I'm not even at this point, but at a point in time, I was really chasing after God. I'm trying to get right with God, and I really, really still felt like she don't deserve for me to do that, because this wasn't right, because she didn't see me, she didn't have me right there. And the fact of the matter is that who would how can you give somebody a chance to mess up there, so you can tell them, this is how you can cover me, and this is how we find out how we need God. And when we talking about a marriage, if you really want that thing to be big, you want it to mean something, you're going to have to give this person more than what you probably ever have given anybody, or probably even yourself, because that's the type of challenge that you just accepted. That's that's a good question.
That's really good.
Go
It's
ahead.
it's really intentionality. Like, because life is happening, even if you have kids or you don't have kids, work is happening. You're naturally, maybe naturally tired from the day or whatever the case is, but that priority is number one. The marriage is number one. So it's like, okay, what can we do? What do we like to do? It's literally being intentional and mindful about it. That's really the basis of it. And do you want it? If you desire to have an exciting marriage, then you're gonna want to push or have those conversations, because you can have a spouse that I'm good chilling. I'm good binge watching whatever on Netflix, but that may not be exciting to your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really that communication, that transparency that you should be able to have to literally say, hey, I'm not, this is not it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not excited about this at all when I come home. And saying that is extreme, because when that's not said, that's when things happen outside of marriage. That's when, well, I'd rather go to the bar with my homie or my coworkers after, or whatever the case is. And then things happen in that way because you're not expressing those things to your spouse. So it's really communication and being intentional and mindful about that.
Hmm. I think it really does. It's something that somebody will want to track from the beginning. Like you just want to keep up with the fact that you are keeping it going. You know, and it's up always, and then reinvent it exactly too as well. Because I mean, obviously, if kids come into play, you got to get more creative. But if kids aren't even an issue, then I mean, I say take advantage of so much time, understand what exactly each other really like to do, what gets me going with, because that's not gonna change. It's just like, okay, maybe the thing that I want to do now is gonna change, but the same thing kind of keeps that person sparking. And we just get so autopilot in life to where we just don't, pay attention to it no longer. Also do enjoy the things that they enjoy as well. So I want to make sure that I have some joy in those things. So it's kind of like broaden your whole scope on how you entertain yourself now. It's not as hard as it made out to be. That's what you will not realize, because the thing is I had to understand that how unopen I was in the beginning. And if I be very cliche, I'm like, if I was really obedient to God, it would be no reason at all for me to have to, do all this adjusting and changing to be here, or feeling like I was separating from myself or anything like that. But being married for 10 years it's not that hard. It's not. It's about a discipline in myself. It's very much a test on us. Like, we're growing up a certain way. We are the ones. It's really about just how do I agree to live my life with somebody together. How much sacrifice do you really think that's gonna take? And when you think about that, it's a selfless I really need to be, when you truly, truly think about it. And the thing is that it makes something beautiful, but we have to understand that it's only us in the way. And once we get out the way, it's just an easy thing to do.
Well, I would say that marriage is a ministry. Like, when you really look at what it is, it's a reflection. Our love for each other reflects God's love for us. So how we move with each other and how we respond to each other and the grace and mercy that we give each other should reflect God's same image, same response to us. Mm-hmm. So learning that as we grew, the understanding, it made things easy. It really did. It's just, some stuff is just not that big. But when you don't have that foundation in that center, when the things come up, when the rocks, because that's marriage, things are going to happen. You got two separate people coming together as one. You're going to have little stumbles and bumps. But if you don't have that rock to stand on, it's shaky ground. It's not going to result in what you want. You're trying to figure out, why can't we get on this same page? It's because that foundation is not set on that on God. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, honestly, when you really, really look at it. And people say marriage is a beautiful thing, but it really is. Because, again, that selflessness that comes from it, and you really put yourself to the side, and when you're in a manner of servitude toward that, toward your spouse that you love the way you do. And honestly, even speaking on love, it's really about commitment. Love is obviously matters, but it's the commitment you made to that person. Because sometimes you may not always like your spouse, but you'll have that love and that commitment there that'll keep you going.
So what I learned from marriage is that this is a team concept. Life ain't for you to be doing nothing at the tip top by yourself and carrying everything.
So yeah, like, marriage is dope, as people say, but it really is. And it is. The world has skewed that, but when you go in understanding marriage for what it is, it's a whole nother thing. Mm-hmm. And it really is. It's work, but it's beautiful.
It is.